Greetings, gamers! Welcome back to the Red Seal Roundup here at Red Seal Gaming. Once again, I am Dan, the Primarch of the Red Seal. I am with my buddy Sal.
Greetings!
And my buddy Christopher.
Hello, everyone. And
here we go again, boys. Another week of fun and exciting news and adventure in the world of gaming.
News!
All right.
What's new?
You know what? It's not really new at this point. We're a little behind because it blew up the internet, and in the world of Magic, it was the 30th anniversary announcement of a $999 box of 4 packs of cards.
Give us your money.
GW didn't do that for 35 years. Here's a $4,000,
They could have
gold-plated
I'm surprised they didn't.
models.
Yeah. They definitely could have, but Magic decided to come at us with, instead of like a whole set of reprints, like the original anniversary edition back in the day, which was like 1 card for the entire set, this is 4 random packs with chances at getting reprints.
And the things that you're getting in these packs are
not
legal.
They are not tournament legal.
They're not legal. You're basically buying proxies.
Yes.
You're buying random proxies.
Wow.
Yes. $1,000 for random proxies.
Wow.
I don't want to get too much into it. I mean, it's been labored about the internet. Everybody knows about it. Anybody watching this at this point in time, which will be next week for us, will already probably hammered this out. I really just wanted to give my quick take on it as a store owner and as a player. As a store owner, I'm only in business 2 years. I think stores that are around longer that have massive collections of like old cards, like Lotuses and dual lands, those people are in more jeopardy of losing some market value in their cards because they have these large selections of cards. I don't think overly so, because in the end, people are going to want the legal cards more so, especially when at $1,000 you could probably buy heavily played dual lands for about $250, $200
So you probably get like
each.
about 4 heavily played lands
if you're a commander,
that are real.
Yes.
And legit.
Yes, for $1,000. You could probably get one of every dual land for about $1,000. I mean, they wouldn't be the best conditioned cards, or whatever, but they would be legal. So that would be a better.
That's tough.
And it would be a better. It would be a better
viable
investment, right? So this is really only aimed at like super high-end collector types, I think, at this point, as a store owner. As a customer, I think it's a complete wasted opportunity of a 30th anniversary.
It feels kind of a slap to me.
Yeah.
Like we've been around for 30 years. Thank you very much for supporting us. Thank you very much for playing our game. Thank you very much for buying our boosters and playing in our events and coming to all of our tournaments
and keeping
now
the game.
Give us $1,000.
And how about keeping the game alive?
Yeah.
They don't keep the game alive.
Yeah.
Like we keep the game alive. Well, I don't, but I'm saying, but
players
like,
do.
I mean, like that's like.
Well, you've contributed to the over the 30 years at one point or another. You did contribute to
good
their
15 years I gave you, but. And they just made they did the whole Twitter thing, which I text you. I'm like, hey, look, they're giving you a shout out that you can buy their products on Amazon.
Oh, that's great.
They're hot and quick to do that and remind you. So it's kind of like, I don't know, is that exciting? Like, you're Magic players, are you excited for that? No, for 35 years?
No, not at all.
I think
GW's
anniversary for 40K, way more exciting in the essence of what we gave you,
Yeah.
For me personally, this product should have been something that got me back.
Yeah.
I've been out of Magic for a couple years now because I've been playing Flesh and Blood. I still have some cards. I still love the game. I still love playing with friends. This should have been an opportunity for them to do something that would have enticed me to give them money.
Yeah.
Now, it was 40K. I bought all 4 of the 40K decks. But now that I see this, I have absolutely no desire to do anything with
else.
Brothers War or anything with anything 30K.
Well, that's a bit of a misnomer on your part.
Well, the Transformers,
the Transformer thing. But
I'll,
as far as
I'll
Magic
wait,
itself, yeah.
I'll wait until those singles get into your binders, and I'll buy them that way.
Right, yeah.
That'd be like, there's nothing in this that's making me warm and fuzzy, nostalgic for
They
Magic.
should have got older players back. Even like Sal. Sal hasn't played in a while. There should have been something that he would have been like, oh, you know what? I don't really play that much, but it'd be cool to have that again.
Yeah.
At an affordable price.
Yeah, and
that would have been cool.
A product like Jumpstart is something that, like, oh, cool, that's a quick and easy.
Yeah,
I don't have to
30th
think.
anniversary
Right,
Jumpstart
what's something
would
for
be
me
cool.
not to think? I think enough.
How about Jumpstart with the revised cards?
Yeah, you want to give me cards that are not tournament legal. I'm okay with it if it's reasonable. If it was 30th anniversary Jumpstart and every card in the packs was not tournament legal, but I could play with a buddy for $20,
yeah,
I would 100% buy that.
If you told me I could have bought every card from that edition in this treatment, not tournament legal or whatever, for $200, $300.
Well, Secret Lair prices, right? Like, I think Secret Lair prices are in the vein of like, okay, it's expensive, but wow, they look really good.
They're really good, and it would be cool to have. I can buy I can have one copy of every card in that set for $200, $300. That would have been reasonable, I think. Because at that point, you could have looked at it as a collector item. This looks like just a...
These boosters are 15 cards?
Yeah.
So you're getting 60 cards for $1,000.
Yeah, and then the rare slot can be like some of the rare slot cards. I think it's like script sprites or something.
I mean,
like
this just seems to me like to be the most epic feel bad ever.
And that's
and if you are a Magic player that buys this and you get like an epic feel bad 4 packs, like, are you going to stick with them?
Yeah, it's like
it's a weird anniversary thing.
Yeah, it's just too expensive.
Think of all the things that have an anniversary.
It's too expensive. Hey, they should be in with us for 30 years.
This is not
spend another $1,000 on
This is not
random.
a thank you. No. This is a give us your money.
I mean, they could say they give the store thank you as a WPN store here at Red Steel Gaming. We are lucky we're getting one for free. They are giving us one for free, and I actually plan on just opening it like on stream to let everybody see what's in it. See what you can pull.
It's yours.
It's going to be the stores, or maybe we'll sell a couple of the singles if somebody wants some. I'm just going to open it.
Yeah,
and show everybody
this is what's in it.
This is what you get.
That's cool.
Now, are these foiled at all? Or are there no foils?
No foiling. No foiling. Customers are like, this is just, most customers don't have $1,000 to spend on
60 cards
on a gamble, on proxies. It's not you're not even gambling or getting illegal. Like if it was which they couldn't do because that would blow the market up. They always said they wouldn't reprint these cards.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the only reason I think they're making them not tournament legal.
Because they said for years that they would
because
never
they can't break their revised list because they've been saying for years that it's never going to go away. Mm-hmm. But they still want to cash cow it. They still want to make money off of what they said they would never do. So that's the only reason they have that little not tournament legal.
And then in the same week, they're putting out a video on how Voorhees. I think it's Gavin Voorhees?
Verhey.
I'm sorry, Verhey. Gavin Verhey put out a video about WotC and WPN. They're loving the local game store and they do everything to help them. And then, here's this $999 thing. And, again, as a store owner, WotC never puts MSRP on anything, right? They announced this, and they announced the price. And it's $9.99. Why? Because they're selling it.
Because it's ludicrous.
No, because they're selling it.
Yeah.
Just like there's pricing and it's MSRP on Secret Lair, like you say. There's a set price that you expect to pay on. But when it comes to everything I sell, there's no MSRP.
Yeah.
I don't have the protection, but they're giving it to themselves. So they're supposed to be helping us, which they're not. And then on top of that, was it the early Amazon Prime sale? Selling booster boxes for cheaper than I can get them for.
Yep. That's because it's coming directly from them.
And you talk about just pull the rug out from under me.
I feel really bad for Wizards of the Coast's players, like people that play Magic specifically, because you're shouldering the closure of Toys R Us. You're shouldering the lack of toy sales for Hasbro.
Yeah.
Like they're I hope they never do this with D&D books because it's going to get crazy. But like they are any revenue that they have lost from selling of Black Series or selling of Nerf pistols or anything that was in a toy store shelf from Toys R Us is gone.
Is getting burdened onto
and now they need to find some way to keep the revenues up while those things are plummeting to the ground. And I feel like Magic is
WotC is carrying Hasbro on its back right now.
Well, isn't that why? Didn't recently WotC want to leave? Wasn't there like a thing where WotC was trying to leave?
They were trying to, and
break
Hasbro
away
was like, no.
Well, why would they? They're the money. They're the cash cow.
It was D&D and Magic.
Yeah.
D&D and Magic is carrying. They just get a major motion picture coming out. We don't know if it's going to be good or not, but they're putting money into this, right? D&D's been more popular in the past 5 years for many reasons we've already discussed. So it's literally carrying Hasbro, as you say. So they can't let it go.
That's tough because
but we're paying the price for it now.
Gamers that play Magic, and hopefully not, but I'm thinking that in the future, gamers that play D&D and buy those books are going to be shouldering the load of Hasbro, unless they change their mindset.
I mean, how can they? They grew on the backs of toys first.
Yeah.
Toys have vanished or become collectible things that, kids don't really play with toys like they used to, hence why Toys R Us is gone.
Yeah, they're still targeting adults. I mean, look at, what is it, the
Black
Pulse?
Series and all that stuff,
Hasbro
Pulse.
And they're charging you a ridiculous amount of money for items.
I mean, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of like the con anyway, but like when we were at New York Comic Con, I would say 40% of it's toys. Collectible toys. All those Stranger Things that we saw, those are collectible
toys.
They're big, articulated. How many Super 7 had all those remakes of toys, NECA? Like those aren't for like
how many companies are making remakes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now?
Yeah. So like
and it's not because kids want to buy them, it's because people my age watched it as kids want to buy them.
But Hasbro's whole thing is like the young toys. So like their company's built on that. So think about it. WotC is never going to fill the void of Hasbro's other side of their revenue. So what's going to happen eventually? Either they're going to be like, they're not going to downsize. I mean, not going to we're going to shrink to build around those two companies, that one company. So there's a weird give that's never going to.
I just wonder how many times can they continue to do this? Like the past couple sets we talked about, it's been a gimmick in every set about trying to get people to buy.
How many gimmicks are there until it runs out?
Until it runs out, and not just runs out of gimmicks, but it starts pissing customers off.
I don't want to
get tired of it.
That's tough. This is a tough one. The other stuff, the other IPs, I have no problem with. This is that's a big price point to be like.
The only thing. The price point is ridiculous. I think the only thing that saves Magic time and time again is that the game is fun, and they're really not messing with the game. You know what I mean? These aren't rules problems.
No.
These are just money problems, like money grab problems. So I think there comes a point where you might start to piss people off.
I just don't. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't want people to get pissed off so much
that the game dies.
And is this all? We don't know because we don't work there. We don't know the inner workings. But is this really even WotC's decision? This could come on high from Hasbro. Make this, put this out here. This is the price tag.
I don't think Hasbro is telling them what to make. I think Hasbro is giving them a number.
Yeah,
you reach this number.
Yeah,
like I think 2 years ago they actually had told WotC to double their revenue.
Yeah, and they announced it again.
I'm pretty sure they announced it again for a second year in a row. Well, you doubled it again, so double it again. So now you're 4 times the revenue that you were 2 years ago.
But just like at Lucasfilm, there's a Lucasfilm representative that works with all the board game companies have to go to that Lucasfilm representative that has to okay stuff. You know there's a Hasbro executive. There's an office in that building that stands at WotC and is be like, all right, like that person that delivers those messages is like, revenue's got to go up from the top.
He's like the taskmaster.
You know, he's the in-between guy, and I'm sure that's like come up with something that's high-priced, that's high price point, that we don't care about likes or dislikes, whatever. We need the $900 item out there, and we're selling it direct.
I'm not overly concerned, but there's been for the first time, there's been a hint of fear for me as an owner and as a player that especially this $1,000 one was like the first. To me, it's the first shot fired. That like, wow, all right, this is a bad feel, all around bad feel, both sides of it.
I kind of hope it fails miserably, so that they realize that this is not the way to go.
I hope so too.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't even know if these are going to be available to the store to buy. We don't even know yet.
Oh, we
don't even know. Distributors don't know.
Well, I'll tell you how we know if this is failure or not. If you get the offer to buy as many as you want, then we know that it's
then we know it's a failure.
Yeah. You want 300?
Yeah,
you would.
You can have as many as you want. There's no limits. Oh, now there's no limits.
Yeah, now there's no
limits.
Where
the allocation word go now?
Because we didn't sell them all.
Because you want me to carry
them.
Yeah. So
anyway, back onto brighter news, please, because I don't like starting the podcast off so doom and gloomy.
Let's go back to systems that feel bad.
Let's
talk about
this is
Warhammer.
The only problem. I mean, this is 2 episodes in a row now of the number 30 being a bad number, right? Because I talked about 30 years of the Leagues of Votan, and now we got 30 years of Magic.
Yeah.
So, well, let's.
Any other 30 anniversaries coming up? Let us know in the comments below.
Let us know what else we should be
Somebody else
wary
drops
of.
the ball for their 30th anniversary. Let us know.
Warhammer news in a world that's happy and joyous too.
Yeah. In the Games Workshop world, we got a couple announcements. We have
GW just pumped. You know what? They're once again. Every week there's something new just to talk about, even if we're not doing it.
Well, the Underworld's is getting relaunched again.
Yes,
with the new edition.
All right, so that your Sunday spoiler alert told us that we're getting all the plastic sprues for all the other warbands that we missed from Beastgrave or Dire Chasm. So now no Warhammer attachments, just the sprues to play
to play game. Yep, and then the Narward is the new edition.
Yeah, in between that though, Nethermaze is technically in this season.
Yes,
but we're not getting the box. We're going to get the sprues for the miniatures.
Yes,
which is a weird truncated.
So that's like 5. That's like 7 different warbands available separately on top of
just sprues for Age of Sigmar, and they're not in Warcry. Because I know a lot of our guys are pissed that all their Underworld's miniatures are not viable in Warcry anymore. There's no rules for them, so and no points. So I mean, it's weird that you're going to sell these units for the Age of Sigmar game when they're not like they're not 10-man, 20-man strong units. They're fixed.
Yeah.
I know. I just looked in the Tzeentch book, and they had the 2 old Tzeentch warbands from Underworlds are data slates or war scrolls in the new Tzeentch book, but like they're like a 4-man, 5-man squad. So like
What do you
Am I
do with
really going to put them in the army for their price point? What are they doing unless their rules are really great? So it's a weird sell. Warcry, I think, was where they would want to sell them because, they make sense. They're small warbands.
5 models would work, 6 models would work.
But you know what? Maybe, once again, I said this about the hallway terrain. Maybe in a month, they're like, here's the Warcry Underworld crossover book, and it'll have everything in it. Maybe there's on the cusp of that, so I can't comment on it.
Yeah.
It might also just be that people want those models. Like, those models tend to be really, really nice.
They're awesome.
They are.
They awesome looking.
Some of
It's
the
like,
better models, though.
I know all the Underworld stuff that's been in books previously has been a little underpowered for what it is, but the models themselves look great.
Always
They're
awesome.
great. Yeah.
So if I'm not necessarily, if I'm a thematic player, or if I'm just a guy that likes to collect everything Soulblight, then I'll buy it.
Yep.
If I didn't get a chance to buy it months ago or
You
years
could
ago.
You can use them as unit champions.
Yep.
You can use them as generals.
Yep.
They have use.
They're very characterful models, right? So you can
Yes.
use them as like
They're
heroes,
all
champions.
and they're all unique.
Yep.
yes.
So and 2 new war bands are coming out with this set,
Norwood will have the 2. They'll have the KSE kind of set. They're like what do
and
they call
another undead.
them? Yeah. What are they called? They're Ratabones. They're like all whites and skeletons. And then the other one's like
So
the
dark,
Savagers. Or what are they called? They're not Marauders.
Let's see. What
the
we got,
dark one is happy.
Yeah.
The Oathbreaker, not Oathbreakers. What are they
The
called?
ravenous. It's fought in the ravenous root halls.
of the Nullwood.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Null Spirit Pack and the Skeleton Sons of Velmorn,
Velmo.
which look really cool. They look like kind of like knights, full on knights of the realm or something like that.
They're
Yeah.
the
Skeleton
yeah.
Sons of the Dark
Yeah,
One.
he's got a great finger point. Great model. So,
Again, very characterful. 3 troop-looking types and then 2 like unit
yes.
champion
And
types.
it seems like Norwood is supposed to correct. Once again, we always talk about Underworlds being that it has its own problems. I think that this box set's going to come 2 warbands.
And-
Each warband's going to have its own deck, and then 2 rival decks, which are their universal decks. So you could I got tired of playing my deck with my warband. Let me start pulling universal cards and swapping them out. There's going to be 2 rival packs in the box set.
which you can use for your old warbands.
For old warbands, the warbands in there or in the future. So I think maybe the card chase is a little less.
Have they said if they're making these rival packs available outside of the box?
They have not.
Not as of now, but they've had them for the past seasons.
They did do it last season.
Yeah.
So
I see all the way into Dire Chasm they were doing them. It's just the problem was they didn't change that whole. They've gotten a new format, so they've talked about there's a new format coming where it's going to be a little more truncated in what you could search for and what you could build and stuff. And then so I think that once again it was always the card chase. Do I have to find an out of print warband? Because most of all the other ones are out of print. Is there a universal card in there that I would want that would make my warband more powerful now? That's in the universal format. They have that format it's like in Magic. It's like
Anything and everything that's ever been out?
Yes. I think that's less popular than the seasonal format. So let's see. I'm hoping once again, Norwood's tied into the new Warcry push, which is also part of Gur, which is part of the new Warhammer Age Sigmar realm. So they've definitely unified all of their brands.
and then with that is the Sons of Behemoth are coming as well.
Yes.
And that's another
Did
thing.
you notice?
They're doing Japan first for some reason.
Yeah. So
I don't know
did
why.
you see that?
No.
On the Sunday release, they only showed. Only in Japan is getting the Sons of Behemoth. Their book, it's in Japanese. There's their battle force is like 3 giants in a box.
Yeah, Man Crusher Mob.
Yeah, there's
And then
3
the
smaller
and then-
giants in a box.
And then King Broad in a separate box.
But for
also.
some reason, on the American, I'm sure Japanese has a drop. I guess the community site's in all language for everyone. They let us know that it's only in Japan first.
It's
a weird, and it's in-
probably a weird shipping problem.
I was going to say, it sounds like a shipping problem.
Yeah.
Sounds like a shipping or a printing problem.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. I think it's a banner though for the Japanese site, right?
Yeah.
But there is no Japanese site.
There
I
is no
think only for like the GW site
It's
to buy
weird.
is in Japanese.
It's weird.
It is weird.
It's probably, but they didn't say like next week. They just said coming soon.
Yeah, pretty cool.
For the rest. But then we also got something that really made my day, as far as Warhammer news, was the Warhammer Old World announced that Bretonnians, Orcs, and Tomb Kings
Yeah,
will be
through artwork only.
through artwork only
And
will
the
be
artwork-
available.
The artwork looked awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely fits their range of artwork. It was a Bretonnian archer, specifically a Knight of the Realm.
Yes.
Like when you read that wording,
Yeah.
like the accoutrement,
Yeah.
his heraldry made
Was
him a Knight of the Realm.
Mhm.
A Khemri chariot, which is very flavorful because very Egyptian chariots were their mainstay, and then an orc boar boy,
Yeah.
specifically the old looking boar boy. like kind of precariously sitting an orc
sitting on a board
on this horrible pointed back of an orc on like literally.
Yeah, I don't know how they're comfortable, but they're never. I don't think they're ever comfortable. I think orcs always look uncomfortable.
Comfort, I'm sure, is not the first thing on his list. It's
absolutely not. It's about what can I smash with.
Swing this chopper.
Yeah. And then another look at the world in general on the map, with some changes to placement to certain realms from before.
Supposedly, it's hundreds of years before the realm that we knew of, like the Call Friends era. Archeon era.
So this is a prequel to like 5th edition?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like there's a new Chaos Lord who's the Everchosen, and we're getting the old Everchosen.
So this is pre-Archon.
And it's like, so it's hundreds of years before. So the map can change now because
I like it.
borderlines change. You know, I think they can do more. Well, my question to you guys with that saying is can they make this world even better because of all the things they've included in the video game? Like when I was a kid, they had a map and they showed you Cathay was on the map. And we had, the old 3rd edition Armies book, there was you could either have, they were called, Nippon? You remember them?
Yeah.
They were a Japanese culture and used to get little pewter, they were pretty much naked guys with like sumo wraps, and they had they used to launch rockets. And you could get this little crew that launched these firework rockets, and they were like a mercenary warband. So you knew there was a Nipponese, and there was that Asian part of the world. There was even a continent called Ind, I-N-D. It was supposed to be very Asian, Indian, Pakistan kind of feel, where there was beastmen, but they were like tiger. Instead of being goats and stuff, there was like tigers and other. But they talked about them in prose only, and they never had miniatures. So you always knew there was the exotic parts of the world or the non-Western European parts of the world, and they were going to flesh those out. But it just either they never got there as miniatures. So I feel like the way the video game has taken us, and now we have Cathay fleshed out.
Well, let's not just focus on. I mean, basically, the map looked like Europe.
It's always been.
It's like a little. You can see like Spain. You can see Great Britain before it like broke. Yeah. The islands broke away.
Yeah. So Corsica, Scandinavia.
Let's do the rest of the planet. Let's not just do this. Let's.
Yeah.
Well, there's the room now.
Weren't the Lizardmen typically South America?
Yep.
Like they were across
Dark
the sea.
Elves were America.
Yeah.
You know, like it was North America, South America, Western Europe. They had Arabe was a Middle Eastern country, area of sultans, and they had genies. Like they went into the old Arabian Nights kind of feel. So they were definitely multicultural. It's just the miniatures never. They even had some racist miniatures back in the day, you know, because of the era that they've wiped from.
But the Wood Elves are on the map in Lorien. The Bretonnians are on the map. Some dwarven strongholds from.
Yeah,
they were broken before, are now active.
There's a Beastman icon I saw in one of the forests. There's it's going to be interesting. I think they can make the world more colorful and more diverse than they could before.
I think that's going to be round 2, though. I think round 1 is going to be getting out the classics, that aren't there, getting out the Khemris, getting out the Bretonnians, things that have been wiped off the Age of Sigmar map.
Well, we also brought up the fact that they showed us Khemri and Bretonnia first, the two feel-bads. People like as soon as I saw it, I thought of Dan a little shedding a tear because these are the armies he's collected, and then those are the ones that did make it over the Age of Sigmar. So by showing us these two first, for the most part, it's kind of like saying we remember that you have these miniatures and that they're full-fledged armies.
So maybe they are listening to me. So if you are listening to me, where are my Dawi? I want to see more dwarves. I see them on here, but I want to start seeing some miniatures. Let's go.
Yep. Right along with the cast dwarves. Thank you very much.
Yeah, bring them too. Bring them too. Where is it? Let's go. I want to see more. I want to see more Empire. I want to see. Now we talked about Empire. Is Sigmar himself going to be around?
You know, when you did you read the Sigmar novel?
Yeah.
So like the Sigmar,
he was like the warring tribes, and he started to unite the tribes.
Very, very warring tribe-esque, and he unites them all, and then the empires formed. So like they were like all kind of
just warring, like barbarian tribes.
Yeah,
basically what
like
they were.
kind of. I wouldn't even barbarians. They were probably like it's almost like Scottish clans at that point. Everybody's got disagreements, but like we'll come together when Norse attacks.
They weren't nomads anymore. They started to have settlements, and they were settling. And then he would just come and unite them, and like say, all right, you know, these two factions were fighting, or he was even fighting them with himself, and he was like a kind of like why be enemies when we could be friends kind of thing.
Yeah.
And because here's a greater threat. Here the Beastmen are coming. The chaos is coming.
Yeah. It was the Norskins specifically being like. They're an old clan. We used to be friends with them, but like they've gone bad. Like
they've gone wild.
So it was an interesting book. But I mean, are they going to do that? It'd be really cool.
Cool to see Sigmar. I mean, because then you can tie in the current
Age of
Sigmar fans who know nothing of the old world, only know Age of Sigmar,
yes,
and say, "Oh, this is Age of Sigmar when Sigmar is a god." Let's hey, guess what? He was immortal at one
Here's
time.
him as a general.
And here's him as when he was born. The twin-tailed comet was the telling of his coming.
Yeah.
And here it is. He's here, and this is you see him before he ascended to godhood.
And there's a few other characters you could do from the old lore that, like, Malekith isn't around, but his dad is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the guy that married Marathi and caused all the problems. Like there's kind
How
of like
about
that.
Nagash before.
He wasn't even undead. He was like
Was he?
necromancer. He wasn't even necromancer. He was just like a priest in Kemri.
Yeah.
That was like.
Yeah, and they announced Kemri. We saw the Twin King Chariot.
Well, they're going to be already undead.
We're going to get the tiny Nagash model like it used to be in Pewter.
Oh my god! We don't know. We know they're square bases. But we don't know the scale. There's always that speculation. Are they going to do like a weird epic size between? The epic used to be really small.
Really small.
And then you have 20, 32 mil, whatever we're at. If there's probably a happy medium where you can still make, a miniature that's of a good scale to paint, but you could have these massive armies on a small.
So you think it's going to be like smaller scale so that you can get more for your.
They haven't said no, and they haven't said yes. I mean,
really, really elusive. All we know is square bases. That's all we know. Square bases, old world.
So if I had a base that was 100 strong, but it wasn't 100 like full-size miniatures. And
if 128 mil square counted for like 5 miniatures, something like that.
That was
really
or
whatever
small,
it was.
With beautiful sculpts, but even at a big, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, if you want to think about extrapolate today's prices with yesteryear's army size, it would be an immense.
Because
amount.
they were bigger. They were bigger. The unit sizes. I mean, when it died, I had bricks of hundreds. 100 minis.
I want to say I was just getting into it, and I had like 80 ghouls.
Yeah.
Imagine
I had
100.
I had 100 men at arms.
Well, I had 50 bloodletters in ranks of 5 rows of 10.
10. Yeah.
So that would be 5 boxes now. That was 1 unit, 5 boxes at today's prices.
So you're talking about like a $250 unit.
Yes.
At probably the cheapest.
Yeah.
Now, do they want to do that again? I don't know.
I don't
know if they want to go that big. And if you want to go with that scale, the best way to do it, shrink the miniature size, like you just said.
Yeah, and it's a happy medium. I don't have to go down to something so you're painting the pinheads.
Yeah, you still want to make it paintable, but you don't necessarily want to make it the robust 30 or 40 millimeter base that we have.
We'll see. I mean, I think the art, once again, like this is a slow simmering kind of. We've really only gotten they've really kind of.
Well, this is still not this year. It's all the way to next year.
We
right?
don't even know.
We don't even know.
They said
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 year
3
window.
years ago.
Yeah. So I mean.
That was pre-problems with shipping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, think about that, too. Like, that wasn't even on their cards. They probably wanted to have a little more of an elaborate announcement, and, it's... We
got a long way to go. Yeah. This is just from a fandom point of view, for me personally, to see the factions two of the factions that I cared about are definitely coming back, and that's exciting.
Yeah. I think that they could cover a lot, and then, once again, are they going to... Then there's always that... We talked about this before, is that crossover... Are they round bases slotting into square things? And then you could use them in both games. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But speaking of that, they didn't have any leaks. There hasn't been. One that we're going to talk about in 2 seconds. Their leaking system. There's people that maybe they're not even at the play testing because Slaves of Darkness got tons of leaks on the internet. They leaked Archeon's Complete War Scroll, Bellacor's Complete War Scroll, Chaos Warriors. So they have no control over that. Like, someone has those books. Like we said, playtesters are maybe just, hey, look, I could get a lot of hits on the internet and we post this on there. Maybe I would have to think that Warhammer Fantasy Battle is not even close to being playtested because we'd probably have leaks by now.
We probably would have saw something.
GW's been really bad. Like, stuff's been leaked where people pretty much know the whole army.
Is it intentional?
It could be. They've done it in the past.
I mean...
If I work for GW and it's like a slow news day and I'm like, maybe I have the ability to see the metrics. Like, how many people are talking about GW on the internet today?
I guess. But wouldn't the same amount of people talk about it if they made a well-polished Warhammer community article and it got posted? And it was the same because they're quick to jump on the leak and make their own polished. Obviously, it's in the magazine and the gun cocked to go because it comes out the next day like the Demon Prince. Someone spoiled the picture. And then within 3 hours, it's on the community site, which means the video is ready to go, which maybe leads to being that it was already set up. But, I don't know.
But do you think that they get more... Because everything now is metrics, everything's interactions, everything's likes and follows, and this, that, and the other thing. Like and follow this video.
Boom.
But do you think that there's more likes and follows and interaction with the community on a leaked thing or an officially published document?
I think it's 50-50. I think there's the people that crave the dark internet, which is where this came from.
And
then there's the people that are more happy when they see an official announcement.
Yeah, like if I don't really.
I like both.
If you see an official announcement, are you posting and commenting on it?
When I see an official announcement, I start telling the world. I do.
But
That's
then
me,
I
but
know
I tell the world for both.
I can only tell it for myself. Like if it's something that's like unknown, there's probably a better chance that I'm going to comment and say, "Oh, it might be this or it might be that." If you tell me what it is, there's a chance that I probably just don't even interact. I read your article.
The Discord blew up when the Old World stuff came out. Everybody posted the pics. Boom, 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 boom. I'm sure it is.
I don't. It depends. Is it your wheelhouse? You know what I mean? Like if you're a Slave to Darkness guy and you see this and you're like, cool, or does it now in 2 months you're not buying it because Archeon is complete shit? You found out, and now you're not buying the book because guys are quick to like say it's dead on arrival. Like, does that even hurt it too? Like, because like GW's, we talked about it last week. They apologized. Like Votan, Votan technically leaked, and it leaked early, and then they knew the whole book, and then this led to everybody's like how do they really know it's overpowered? Because people play tested it and like holy shit.
Maybe leaking War Scrolls is their way of play testing the world.
Oh, sweet Christmas!
Oh my God, dude! Did you see this line? Well, this line is going to be bad, so this model's already terrible. They still can reprint it.
Are you telling me that James Workshop is there, watching the Twitter feeds, going, "All right, guys, they're saying it's too powerful. Let's bring it down one. What do you think? You think you should bring it down one?" And they're just reacting to that.
I mean,
don't tell me that because I'm going to be nauseous if that's the case.
That'd be tough. I mean, it's tough.
Really
There's probably that happy line of
I hope
like
that's not the case.
I just know like I saw this Slave to Darkness leaks, and I have to go take it with a grain of salt. In my mind, like this could be someone might have a lot of time to really make this up, and people have in the past, but this was, you could tell it's the book. But
you're right though, because in the end we've already proven that GW does not playtest enough. We know that.
Yeah,
we proved that last week. We've proved it over 30 years of this nonsense. They do not playtest enough. They just don't. Whereas Magic does. Magic doesn't often put out a card that's broken.
Yeah, I just feel like why do these always happen to them?
Like, they don't play test enough.
Are these guys always losing their phones with pictures of books on it? Are there so many people play testing it that they can't control all these pictures?
There's not that many people play testing.
That's what I'm saying. Like there has to be a reason why they have so many leaks. It seems like every other week on this podcast we're talking about a new leak that came from somewhere.
They even make the joke when they released their video, when they finally released their Warhammer community video. They're always quick to say, "Well, at least it's not a grainy internet image," because they know like what we're looking at, what we're responding to, and why this video has been posted. But like in the end, isn't it their fault because they're so sedentary into a published book that can't be edited, that's already gone to print, that's been sitting there for how many months, and not being in a digital environment? Like X-Wing's begging for points right now. There's supposed to be a point change because the new Trench Run game's coming out, so we know points are going to come out. Summon points. But like, if something goes wrong, you could digitally change those on the fly address it in a week. Is it because they're handcuffed to their print that like this is like, if Archeon sucks, guess what? He's gonna have to go out there and suck.
I think
they're just gonna change his points in the end, but they're not gonna change they never change War Scrolls because it's already there.
I think they don't play test enough. I think they don't care. Case in point, I still have a $65 collector edition Votan book that has the points values are useless. I think they just don't care. They want to get it out as fast as possible because they put stuff out every week. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
Every week. That's their main concern. Always. What's coming out this week? What's coming out this week? That is priority number one. Everything else is secondary. I think it's just that simple.
And it's not going to hurt.
We're giving them too much credit for leaking accidentally on purpose. I think it's just that most of the guys just love the leak stuff. I mean, Warseer back in the day was always festooned with leaks from other companies.
And people are making a living on covering this stuff. Like I just watched the whole Flame on Star Wars about because Andor just doesn't suck. Andor's great. There's sites trying to find something wrong with Andor because that's what they do. You need the clickbait.
Yeah, the negative.
You need a clickbait icon in today's world to draw
internet.
You in. Yeah. So people are just fishing for negative things.
So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like people like to click on negative things and comment on negative things. They don't like to click on or comment on things that are good. So if I'm GW, maybe I'm putting out the thing that's going to generate more clicks.
It's true, but in this sense, I play what's good or bad, whereas like a TV show, I could just not watch it and it doesn't affect me. But this is going to affect the game going forward. I guess there's a little more of a on-hands kind of feel when this might, my beloved army might suck on the battlefield because of this kind of I don't know.
On a personal level, clickbait affects me both ways.
I like spoilers because we get to talk about them.
Yeah.
Very much so. And like, I wish we were monetized enough where this like fucking paid all the bills. But like I understand why people are fishing for it in this era of making videos like this. And we have the ability to sit here and talk with this amount of technology and stuff, and we're not on like, dial up, and it's just the world we live in today. But I don't know. I mean, in the end, those Slave to Darkness miniatures are going to sell themselves because they look so fucking awesome. Yeah. Excuse my French.
Right, that's what they do first anyway.
I think that's their revenue scheme, and like the stuff that falls through the holes of the problems.
We know they're a miniature company first.
Yeah.
We know it. So.
Well, one little weird other thing which I thought was kind of cool, the upcoming White Dwarf number 481, which is going to come out as a big orc shaman on the front cover, which is really cool. They're going to do a cool gameplay. You know what? I think this is where White Dwarf can shine, and we're not playing enough personally to like really get the most out of the White Dwarf, but they have like cool little, alternate scenarios and like alternate ways to play the game. I think that's what White Dwarf's really good at doing, instead of giving you, here's a revised army list or whatever, blah, blah. They have a cool thing coming out in that issue about a zombie AI game where you're going to be able to play zombies in a 40K game like you're fighting, and now this horde of zombies comes out of the works, and there's going to have an AI system to have that kind of third-party effect in the game.
Generate the...
Well, what do the zombies do? They're attacking you like, oh, crap, I was supposed to be shooting at these guys. And I don't know if it's... They didn't really state in the White Dwarf if it's what system it's for, but I love little mini-game kind of alternate ways to play the game, and then use miniatures,
Remember Necromunda back in the day? They had the
journals,
the Tyranid waves would come, and like we had to fight together.
The Monster Hunt, they still have that. The new Necromunda, they did it in the store last time.
Oh, they did. Okay, I didn't know. That was fantastic.
It's the multiplayer game, and they used to be like
you had to work together.
There was a hidden down card on the board, and we would get close to it, and you'd flip it, and it'd be this horrific thing in the Underhive, and it was always I always got the Gene Stealer, which used to wreck us. I got guys in T-shirts and jean vests with shotguns, and like, what is a Gene Stealer going to do?
Auto guns we had.
Yeah, auto pistols,
and
a toothpick.
Like a Gene Stealer.
Oh my god, I always got the Gene Stealer, like 12 attacks. But yeah, so like I like those little kind of like plug-in, and you know what? It's perfect for Halloween coming up, because like a zombie themed little mini game or curveball to your current game, it can be interesting. But yeah, GW. We love you.
Speaking of Halloween, what is your favorite Halloween game? Board game, video game? What's your favorite Halloween theme thing?
Would also be horror. So like really,
something horror, like something that gets you in that kind of Halloween, autumnal vibe.
Well, classic horror. We always talk about. We love Horrified as a board game. Classic movie monsters.
The classic movie monster one is probably one.
Horrified's great. What about
Frankenstein? And
And I think that one's better than the new American horror one. Because the Sasquatch and the Mothman and stuff
those
like
don't
that.
remind me of Halloween.
Yeah.
Frankenstein does. Yeah. The werewolf does.
It reminds me of those
the creatures on the Black Lagoon. Maybe because I'm 52 years old and that's what I remember when I was a kid.
It reminds me of those really bad boxes with the clear cellophane with the plastic mask with the with the
little snap. On the back of your head.
It was like super poured poly. What was it like?
I definitely have
plastic jumpsuit.
Oh my god! The amount of sweat that would come out of that suit when you took it off.
With the little tie on the back, right? Of the neck.
I eventually just like ripped myself out of that as a kid.
But I used to love. You know what? I remember going shopping for Halloween costume, and I remember just boxes upon boxes.
Remember the wall
of boxes?
Yeah, the wall. It
was just like it was fun to shop.
70s and 80s merchandising in any store, I don't care what it was for, was just glory. Like they knew how to put glory on a wall.
Cabbage Patch Kids, dude.
Just anything, like crazy. Anything like that was stocked on a shelf, wall to wall with no seams. You couldn't even see a seam between those boxes.
The Halloween boxes were great. I remember, like you said, that mask was right there in the front. Through that like cellophane on the top.
Yes,
like you would see the box. And I do remember seeing Frankenstein and the werewolf.
Yep. So. Yeah, I think like that game lends to the horror. I can't really think of anything else.
I thought of Campy Creatures.
Okay,
Remember that one?
But again, it's still also like
it's like old school sci-fi / horror monsters.
I love the portability of that game. That game's that little box we can take wherever we go.
And in fact, that's one of the games we usually play at cons because it's so small. Mm-hmm. Anybody can put it in their backpack
and the table
footprint
around
the whole time.
And the table footprint's not big because it's that
and
little
it has
scoreboard.
Like the Mars Attacks kind of aliens, right? Yeah.
Everybody.
The
blob.
The blob's in there. King Kong's in there. Godzilla's in there. Or the kaiju, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then to go the opposite from table space would be Mansions of Madness. It's another great horror. It's like another great Halloween time kind of spooky H.P. Lovecraft. We're all in a haunted house together. Let's get out.
What's your favorite What you know?
Does Cthulhu do Halloween for you though? Cthulhu doesn't do.
No,
Halloween.
I don't think it does Halloween, but I think the spooky
Haunted house does
haunted
for
house
Halloween.
factor of Mansions
Okay.
of Madness specifically.
One of my favorite old movies. I love the Hammer era films. That old like late 70s kind of. It all had the same kind of.
Chainsaw Massacre.
No,
like
like
Christopher Lee Dracula.
Christopher Lee
Christopher Lee,
Dracula,
okay.
Peter Cushing, that era. It had that grainy kind of tech. When it said it was in Technicolor,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew what I was getting.
You
Vincent
knew,
Price.
you knew that you were into it.
But there was
Or the Chiller Theater.
Remember,
when the hand used to come up.
the
The
actor
Roddy.
Roddy.
That was like 70s and 80s.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Roddy McDowell, I think his name was.
Yep.
He was the older actor. He was
From,
in
Planet of the Apes.
Planet
Planet of the Apes. He played.
Yeah. He's in a movie called Hell House, The Haunting of Hell
Cornelius.
House, or it was an old where they sleep in the house, really 70s. The lighting, it's like kind of like the lighting behind us. It was like
I guess
we don't
it-
have sci-fi. It's just like crazy.
guess it
It's
comes-
my favorite horror movie.
I think the Halloween question comes down to, I guess, when you grew up, right?
Yeah, I
Like
guess
most
so.
of our guys,
Yeah.
what 90s and 2000s probably
Later.
Most
I would say
later even.
I cut my horror teeth on like the Scream movies. Like I
Yeah.
think Scream was the first movie that I went to the theaters to see.
Okay.
And then
For me, it's Halloween.
Paranormal Activity
It's Halloween.
was a big one. Oh, Halloween's a great one.
But do they have is there anything lending to that generation for games now? Like, because they've aimed at us. Is there anything that lends to like a modern horror kind of themed game? Like,
There've been a couple of slasher horror film games.
Okay.
But honestly, I can't.
I know in video games they've delved into
because
like
you got to remember,
Jason and-
I don't want to blow those movies up because they're fun and they're great to watch, but the plot armor is
Oh yeah.
so thin on those
Yeah,
things. It's
I-
like you know what's happening.
You'd have to
don't get in the car. Don't separate. Don't go in the basement by yourself. And they still go.
They still go.
Well, that's
Let's
something-
hide behind those chainsaws.
Yeah, that
That's like
commercial.
that Geico
That-
movie.
that
That's
Geico
something-
commercial.
That's
yeah.
something else to ask people. Is there a horror game that you know of that you'd like? Let us know in the comments and say is like, this is a game that really kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies, or like it fits that era, that fall kind of feel of
Maybe
terror.
did you play the Aliens yet?
I have
the-
not.
the
We own
Ravensburger
it.
game?
We own it, but we haven't yet cracked
In
it open.
my locker,
Because
Waiting to be played.
I want to play.
Moving on to board game news, I guess.
Go for
I got
it.
Just very, 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 very brief stuff this week, actually. Ravensburger. I bring this up only because Ravensburger is going to be dealing Larcana.
Yes.
So I keep looking for information to tell me whether they're going to make it good or whether it's going to be complete
Well, we're
garbage.
testing the metric of Ravensburger
Correct.
to see.
well, what kind of skills they have in game making at this
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
Right?
So the good news is they continue to make more games. They continue to try. They're throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks. Now they're going with. They have 2 Minecraft board games coming out.
Okay.
Minecraft was never my thing. I don't know how you make Minecraft into a board game based on what I know about it, but I mean, cool, they're
Gathering.
trying.
Collecting
Maybe
materials,
resource
trying to get
gathering.
the right gathering
Worker
stuff,
placement,
diamonds.
resource gathering, maybe.
Stay away from creepers. Kind of like boom. Those things used to blow up in the dark, man. I used to jump. Oh. But anyway, yeah, I
So-
can see it's cool.
But I mean, it's just cool to see Ravensburger continue to stretch their board gaming legs so
Okay.
that hopefully we get a good.
Did you ever
TCG.
Play? You really haven't played Minecraft?
I've played it a couple times.
Did
Like
you play
I've
Minecraft on survival mode?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've hit some bricks and like fell into
Play
a pit
Minecraft
once.
on survival mode, okay? Because once the lights go out, shit gets real.
Yeah, all the mobs change at night.
Spiders
into, like,
come
horrible
out, and
stuff.
creepers, and nasty creatures.
I
so
think
you
I
gotta
remember-
build a place to go in hide.
Yeah,
and that's how
I
it
remember
starts.
somebody telling me that when the sun's up, you build your first like little hut, and
Yeah.
you literally close yourself in for when the sun goes down.
Dude, like a 2x2 square hut. Like that's all you got to do.
Dude,
the
I
first
literally
day.
procrastinated once where I was so close to sundown that I dug a little 4x4 square in the sand, closed it up, and put a torch, and I sat there waiting for the
sun
daylight to
come up.
come.
That's what it's
It was like, oh my god, I have to build a house
Oh
the next
my
day.
It
God.
It
is terrifying. I'm getting the
chills thinking about
heebie-jeebies
it.
now.
All right,
thinking
well,
about-
maybe that's the best Halloween game.
It
Who
might
knows?
be.
Yeah,
It might be.
Creative mode's really where it shines because you don't have to worry about
Do
all that
whatever.
stuff. And blah,
I was
blah, blah.
building Mithril Hall for a while. I spent like 3 months on a server building
I
Mithril
tried to
Hall.
do Moria with all the pillars and just keep going forever.
Yeah.
And I would just I would build all this dynamite and I would just like shock blow this whole chasm out and I would
Yeah.
never build all. I just have a giant hole in the ground. I would quit.
Other board gaming news I have, it goes back to Hasbro, unfortunately.
Okay.
But they are actually teaming up with Renegade. They've teamed up with Renegade a couple times before. They did a Kickstarter, I don't know, 2-3 years ago for a miniatures Power Rangers game.
Okay.
It was called Heroes. What do I have written down here? I can't even read my hand. Heroes of the Grid. There we go.
Okay.
So that was their first collaboration. Then they collaborated not too long ago, making all of those deck building games. So there was the Power Rangers one. There's
The
Transformers.
Transformers.
Okay, I remember seeing
There's a
those.
G.I. Joe one now. They have a couple of RPGs that are coming out too. Now they've said that they're expanding their collaboration together to go with some of the old Avalon Hill board games. So we had spoken about Axis and Allies last week. That's going to be one of the ones that they are going to bring back to market under the banner of Renegade Studios.
Interesting.
And Avalon Hill.
Any chance they do like all the old Game Master series, like Shogun and Fortress America, those kind of things?
I would love to see Fortress America, honestly.
Yeah.
The three, they had two on there that I read. It was Axis and Allies and Diplomacy. You guys ever played Diplomacy?
I never played it, but I know of it.
It's basically like hardcore Risk without dice.
Without that,
We ended up playing it once, actually via email, because it's one of those things where you can like kind of everything's predetermined. You make your moves, you send in what your moves are going to be, and then you adjust the board accordingly.
Interesting.
It's really, really intense.
You know what's crazy that you're mentioning that game, Axis and Allies, because the Game Master board game series were originally Milton Bradley, and then went to Avalon Hill, I think.
Well, I think the last time I saw Fortress America was a Fantasy Flight game.
Really?
I think.
Wow.
I might be incorrect. Somebody can fact check me on that one, but I think that might have gone to.
Because I'll bring it up because I'm speaking from wisdom. I'll stop calling myself old. Some of the guys at the shop say, stop calling yourself old. Blah blah blah. I'll speak from my
wiseness,
my wisdom and my knowledge of old school board gaming.
My dusty bones.
My dusty bones. So in 1984,
great year.
Axis and Allies, Conquest of the Empire, which was the Roman one. And Broadsides and Boarding Parties.
Ooh.
Let me some broadside.
Okay. Pirates and stuff like that. Then in 86, Fortress America and Shogun were all under the Game Master series of board games.
I'm all about taking those games and gamifying them a little bit more,
Yes,
making them a
more.
little bit more modern
In-depth,
game,
yeah.
but using that same idea, and I'd be totally for it.
Oh,
They also said
unbelievable.
Robo Rally was also one of the ones that was going to be. I don't know if you guys ever played
I don't remember that.
It's like a programming game where you have robots that you know are going to go certain ways, but you're trying to string them together to do something bigger.
Check it out. It's funny. You
That
said
sounds 80s right there.
I actually I pulled up this article just to talk about those Game Master series, and I'm looking at it right now. It said, as of this article that I'm reading, Hasbro owned all the rights to 4 of those 5 games, and the one that was missing was Axis and Allies because they lost it to Avalon Hill, so they just got it
They just got it back.
So Hasbro owns all these games again.
Interesting.
Which they can now let Renegade remake for them. Put them into the distribution sphere, and then gather the
So
coins.
really, Renegade being a separate studio, kind of like a video game studio that makes games for EA, it's the same system. Renegade's a smaller company that's going to be making these games.
Yeah,
it goes to the Hasbro bubble.
It seems as if Hasbro is allowing them to have the name and the rights to the rules engines.
Cool.
Renegade is going to do all the legwork, producing, making the game, distributing the game, and then Hasbro's just going to get a check at the end. Would be my assumption. I don't know if that's true or not.
It's like the video game industry.
Well, I mean, Avalon Hill wasn't they? I think they were a subsidiary of Wizards at one point.
Yes, absolutely. They were making Wizards games for sure.
Games too,
Yeah.
so.
Speaking of video games and going to D&D, here's some.
I'm a little worried about this one.
Now, when I first read this headline, I was very excited.
Okay.
Then I dug a little deeper.
Ooh.
So, Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast have asked D&D to put together a new AAA video game title. Okay. So,
the last
fireworks are going off in my head. This is awesome. I can't wait to do it.
Especially with the movie coming out, blah, blah, blah. But
and it's going to be done by a gaming studio called Invoke Studios.
Okay.
All right. So fireworks are still going off. I don't know. I've never heard of this one.
Research Invoke.
And then
this is where
it takes a little bit of a turn.
We looked behind a curtain and
when
Chris
you find out
this.
what Invoke has made in the past. They have changed their name from a previous company who was the one that made the Dark Alliance game that just came out,
which was disappointing.
The Dritz one that was supposed to change my life. That I didn't even get out
Ari
of the
Salvatore
first,
was super involved in that game.
Didn't even get out of the first arena because it was so buggy.
Yeah,
Yes.
it wasn't like it was really the software engine. Like there was so many bugs and the systems didn't work.
The combat was bad.
That's
Everything
tough.
was bad. The game was bad. Not the storyline, not the characters,
Not the graphics, but the actual
game
mechanics
were.
Yeah, it's like playing a Mario game and not being able to jump right.
Yeah. When we always talked about,
I mean, that's kind of what you made
really clunky.
We always talked about before anything else, the game mechanic has to be liquid, smooth, or work. Like we used to play bottom of the ninth was we still say it's one of the best baseball games we ever played. It's the ugliest baseball game, but the way you pitched, the way you bat, it was simple and it was intuitive, but it wasn't overly complex.
And anybody, no matter how good they were, could make a mistake. It would just randomly happen.
Yes.
And that's what sports are, right?
Yep.
Anybody, the best quarterback in the world, every now and then he throws a pick.
Yep.
Or the running back makes a fumble.
Overthrow it.
Pitcher throws a meatball over the middle and it gets planted into left field. Like, those things happen.
But it played so well.
But that game company made it do. You know what? The proof is in the pudding. Why'd they change their name?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, let's hope that they can kind of rectify the situation, right the ship, and give us the D&D game that we all deserve.
Yeah.
But what did they think we weren't going to look? Did you honestly think gamers were not going to look?
Well, hopefully it's a whole new, maybe the decisions that are made with a whole new company and all new employees.
Yeah.
We always look at Blizzard. Blizzard hired like hundreds of new people for Dragonflight, and that says a lot.
Wait. I'm psyched.
And you know what? It's funny.
I am so psyched. This new crew has made me excited.
Yeah, and one of the companies that they bought or they brought in was a battle royale game where you're wizards and you shoot magic and you play a battle royale and you're like flying around wizards throwing ice magic and
with the reticules.
And it didn't do well, but the game was great, but like it just didn't reach the community. They couldn't update it. They didn't have content quick enough.
And the IP was a little.
It's generic. Yeah. It's generic magic. There's no it wasn't of anything. That whole company got us most, and all those employees are at Blizzard working on Dragonfly.
That's cool.
So it doesn't make that game wasn't bad. It just didn't reach their potential that they the sales they wanted. We'll see.
Just got a great idea too. We got to do a World of Warcraft episode.
Ooh.
We're gonna have to,
especially
with the popularity of what's going on at the store right now, and we're about 2 weeks away from pre-patch.
I'm all down.
And then the last thing that I have still with D&D, and this one is all up. This is all good. That they are going to do a D&D documentary, and it's being directed by everybody's favorite geek, Joe Manganiello.
Ooh, swole, bro, Joe Man.
Is it the history of D&D?
It says about it. I think it's a history of D&D, and it's got like 400 hours of archival footage that they're drawing from.
He's drawing, and then he did the. He was involved in the Art and Arcana stuff too. So I think he does well.
I think he wrote. I think he put a forward in that, but I don't think he was part of the creative crew.
He's producing this.
Yeah, he's directing this.
Directing.
The Art and Arcana had him as a forward, and it was done by Sam Witwer and Sam Witwer's brother. Yeah. But he had his hands in it, and there were certain things that he had helped kind of create. And everybody knows that Joe Mann is a big D&D head.
Diehard.
Yeah. Diehard D&D, and also a big Dragonlance.
He's got a character in the book.
Yeah. Do we know where it's being released on?
Not that I've seen yet.
Okay, like Netflix or...
I think it's just in production right now, but that was really good D&D news.
It's still early stages. It's good news. It's in good hands because he cares about the game.
He loves it, yeah.
It's not just a money grab. Oh, let me just slap, I think
we're going to see some ramp up of extra stuff like this as we get closer to March and the movie.
Yeah.
Because if the movie does well, cross our fingers, it's really good. If the movie does well, they're going to need other things to send people to. Well, here's a book. Here's this. Here's another movie. And I think this is going to be another one of those tangential things. Oh, you really like the movie? Take a look at the history of D&D, hosted by. Because a
lot of people know parts of the history, but not the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
They know.
I wonder how
you hear about the Satanic Panic. You know it was popular in the '80s and then especially if you're new to it via Stranger Things and Critical Role, you might have Days of Yore, like a little brief, but you still know what now. But now you're going to be able to hold
when we know that part, but the more unknown part of D&D is how much Gary Gygax and his other partner, I forgot his name, they did not bode well in their relationship leading up to TSR and TSR being sold. I wonder if he's going to delve into like the darker side of the early D&D, whereas we see it from the Satanic Panics from the player side point of view, but on how the company was sold. There's a lot I've read a lot of seedy and sweaty ass stories of what.
I also think
went down.
Dave, let's just mention his name because Dave Arneson.
Arneson, yeah.
And
he wanted he worked at TSR, and then he demanded a position at WotC and wrote a whole letter, and they printed the letter recently, and you read his letter how he was like. Yep. I created D&D. Oh, I mean, it was tough. It was a tough read, and I'm like,
I think there's also a world where they make this so that they can rewrite their history, so they can kind of take away some of the things that maybe are
the negative,
the negative things, and they can only focus on the positive things and the community building. Because D&D is a very positive game, especially now.
Yeah.
But it had some weirdness early on.
It's the corporate side that people don't really. That's like the business side of it. Like who really gets the accolades for creating it first, and like who made the money. Then you know what? They're not even going to focus on that, which is actually probably better for the whole. Go Joe Man.
Well, Gojo Man. Well, this is just proof again. The fandom in the end carries it.
Yeah.
The fandom's been carrying D&D for a while.
Let's say, well, maybe Phil, I'll get you the picture of us three with Joe Man giving from Comic Con. We'll put that up. We'll throw it up right now.
Imagine he remembers this and says something. I met these three morons at the.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, yeah. I mean,
where was that, by the way?
That was
New York Comic Con.
That was New York Comic Con.
That was New York Comic Con.
That was New York Comic Con.
It's always it comes down to I waited in a line for like ever for that guy.
Yes, we did.
But yeah,
he made our shirts. Didn't you get the? Did you?
I have the first
shirt?
Death Save shirt signed by him.
Yeah.
I was first online. I actually posted that and he liked it because he knew he remembered signing that first Death Saves.
So for a couple years ago at New York Comic Con pre-COVID, he was there at a booth for Bait. Was the name of the
Bait's like a San Diego, California based.
But
company.
They were screen printing Death Save shirts on the spot instantly.
Yeah.
On the yeah.
And Sal went, I believe, Thursday. Probably got the first one.
I was there for like hours before. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Let me just sit online.
And then the next couple of days, either Friday or Saturday, the three of us actually went and did it again and got some more shirts.
I think we showed up on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And we were all in a line together. And I was actually talking to his buddy that he plays D&D with.
Yeah, he's like the head producer of Death Saves. Like he was the art director, and he was
asking us if we play, and I says, yeah, you were like, Dan's my DM, and blah, blah. We started talking, and he was like, oh, wow, that's great. And we were talking to him for like a half hour while we were online.
While we were online. And you guys remember, I was actually just looked at these pictures the other day. You remember Pee Wee Herman showed up?
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
And that caused a ruckus. I'm like, why is Pee Wee Herman here?
Pee Wee Herman showed up, and him and Joe Man had like a 20-minute conversation. Stopped the line. Stopped producing shirts.
And it was just
But
Pee Wee's rolling D20s, baby. Let's go.
onto media news.
Yes. Well, the quick on the we have to mention. I know Dan hasn't watched Andor yet. Me and Chris have, but I have to say that I squealed at the part, and I will say it that they had a great scene. It's not spoiling anything for you story wise. Obviously, there's something happening with the Empire, and there's rebel action going on.
The Empire's in this? Oh.
Yeah, very well done, Empire. But there's a great scene where you get to finally see TIE pilots running down their gangplanks, which are like a top-mounted gangplank, and they load into their TIE fighters, get into their TIE, actually open the top hatch, jump into the cockpit, turn on the TIE pilot, the TIE fighter,
like Top Gun style, power it up,
dude.
Yeah,
and then they launch, and it was like. It was really getting to see the human side of what you always just saw.
You saw blowing up.
Yeah, you always see them either blowing up or the guy flying and then get blown up. It really showed that human side.
We really only saw, 3 TIE pilots in entirety?
I think I have every scene saved on my computer because they're my favorite characters. Yeah. Because they are the Top Gun of, like, it's like the Tom Cruise. Mm-hmm. You see Tom Cruise's face, there's a Tom Cruise under that helmet. Those are all like the best, Academy pilots that make it to go wherever they go. But that scene broke me. I squealed out when it happened. I yelled so loud. My wife jumped. My dog jumped out of bed. I was like, oh, I finally get to see this. Friggin' awesome.
We did see it with X-Wings. We saw it with, you see it with X-Wings. You see Luke get in. You see the thing go down. Yes. It starts to go up, and it turns.
You see the bad guys get into their ships, but you never get to see the good guys get into their ships.
Okay,
but now we finally have it.
But it does show. I think that's the downside of the hero story is you're force fed, or not force fed. You're spoon fed what the hero story is, and I love the hero story. Like I love Luke,
nice
I love Han.
Sides.
But now you get to realize, like, all right, these aren't automatons. These are people that are doing their jobs, and it's like. I always people belittle our military for doing things and stuff but those are your neighbors, those are your soldiers, and I'm not saying the Empire is a good thing for what they do, but I think those people getting into the cockpit, they're thinking that they're just doing their job, they're defending what they're doing, right? But to get to see them, I think that's what the director of this does so well. He makes it just about the humans part of the story, and there's no force, there's no one deflecting blaster bolts with their hand, there's no lightsabers.
The big superhero. Or good guys are not in this.
It's very human. Yeah. So, but that moment gives me, because me and Chris always feed off of that background. Give me the look inside. I want to know the coffee pot that makes the calf in Star Wars. There's Star Wars cereal, Dan. They showed Star Wars cereal in Andor.
You saw Star Wars cereal?
There's Star Wars. They better make it quick.
What were the shapes?
They're
like round. Like
they're
little
Cocoa
round.
Puffs with green and chocolate Cocoa Puffs. Pour blue milk, and the guy eats them with a spoon. And I'm like, oh, like it's Star Wars cereal.
Too bad it wasn't a Galaxy's Edge spork. That would have been even better.
Oh my god! But like, it's those little like someone that's not random, right? That's a very specific thing to put on the screen so you see that.
Yeah.
I know. I flipped out. That, and then we got to finish watching Return of the King, and it's not me and Chris did not coordinate this. We are wearing the same shirt today. This is a New York Comic Con.
New York Comic Con.
Do you remember the name of the booth?
I you know what? I can look it up while you guys are.
Geek something. This is a really cool shirt because the back is like a band shirt.
Maybe we could throw a little something for them in there.
Sure. I mean, I only bought. I mean, Chris, me both spent how much money there because every shirt they had Marvel,
cool,
Star Wars. It's like a band shirt. So on the back, it starts in Bag's End and it goes through all the places that Bilbo went through, or like as almost like a tour, and it ends in Bag End. Right.
This is the Middle Earth tour. The There and Back Again tour.
Is the Prancing Pony on your back?
Oh yeah.
I
think that's stop number 2 on the tour.
Yeah, really cool. So, but we finished. We got to watch the end of Return of the King, the extended edition.
4 hours.
4+ hours.
4 hours and 20 minutes.
I know you've seen it previously before, so you know. I just wanted to comment on like some of the weird additions that we kind of, I made the movie better. I mean, I really enjoyed Faramir and Eowyn's addition.
Seeing
There's
each other.
There's a few scenes, so like they're just getting like they're all lovey-dovey at the end of the movie when you get to watch the normal version. There's some interaction while they're healing up in Minas Tirith and stuff.
Yeah, they're resting. She's recovering from her fight with the Lich King, and he's recovering from his near death and burning by his father.
Yeah, you actually see her arm, the damage she took from blocking the Witch King's horrific mace. Yeah, so like I thought that was some interesting.
And Aragorn with his a little bit of elven healing kind of going on there.
Yeah,
her,
medicinal
right?
maybe. He was like doing his thing, and like then Faramir is kind of like watching. But it was cool. I think that like enriched their relationship, even though it's very brief. And then Dan's favorite was the mouth of Sauron at the Black Gate. Just the noises. The Foley artist.
I definitely want to do that. Maybe not. It's a little too late to do it this Halloween. But I think next Halloween I will cover my eyes and just like stretch everything out.
I think if we get we cut some foam pieces and glue it and do it like that metallic, we can get away with it. He's fantastic, and his whole like they said all that.
All
the audio, the wet audio. Whoever the Foley artist for that, I don't know what he was doing, squeezing toothpaste out of tubes. Like
he should be fired.
Oh my god,
it's amazing. I was squirming.
He was squirming.
Up to the point he lost his head. I was squirming. But you know what I like too? When he goes to try to get when he goes down the Molt Road and he wants to get the Army of the Dead to fight.
Oh, that was a lot extended.
There's a lot extended. All those skulls coming down and then washing them out onto the shore, and then you see
the Corsairs
coming, and Gandalf says, "Look to the black ships," and so on and so forth. But in the regular edition, you see Aragorn come off the ship with Legolas and Gimli. You don't even know how the hell they got on these ships. You don't even know what these ships were and what the hell are they doing on it. They show how they take over the ships. Yeah, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, Legolas is pointing. He says, "Fire an arrow over the bow." Give him a warning shot over the bosun, and he's doing it. And Gimli hits his bow and it nails the guy in the chest. And I'm like, "Come on!"
And Gimli's like, "Oh, sorry." Like,
you're prepared to be boiled in line.
That was great.
But when you watch that, I totally understand if like we're trying to save time why they're cut out. But like the inclusion of them is just chef's kiss. But I will say I was like, I haven't watched Return of the King in a while, and I realized that there's a postpartum depression, like the finality of how much that story feels like that it's over and there really is no, like me and my son Lucas, shout out Lucas, we had like a 2-hour discussion of like what is going on afterwards. Like all the great problems of the world are gone. It's just
Sam
peace.
Doing? What is Sam doing? I mean, obviously he had 2 kids. Like at the end of the Return of the King, you see him with 2 children. One of them is probably about 3 years old.
Yeah, and
that's when he was coming back from when Frodo was leaving.
Yes, and he said it was 3 years in between since Weathertop, which is you plus minus. There's a way to time that, whatever. But I like we talked about what's Aragorn doing. Like, what problems does Aragorn have? Like do the Haradrim decide to come from the south and cause problems? Probably not. Like, so, like, he's in a world of just, like, all right, status quo, everybody's happy.
The time of men, as they say. And,
the elves, the dwarves are in the mountains. But, like, I thought it was, like, really interesting, but, like, I realized how much postpartum of that story. It's so epic. Yeah. It's such an epic thing. It's kind of like them standing in the Prancing Pony or the Green Dragon Inn.
The Green Dragon and
they're kind of like,
Hobbiton.
They're, like, drinking their cheers, and it's, like...
It's hard to go back.
It's hard to go back to regular life after living that. So,
I think that's what... Frodo says while he's walking around his house. You know, how do you pick up the threads of
an old life?
Of an old life. Yeah.
And so like that's how I feel after I watch that, and I think that's why I probably haven't watched it in so long. But
we mentioned that as players of D&D, right?
A big storyline.
We go out and we do all this, and we finish you finish an adventure or a module or a dungeon, whatever you want to call it, the storyline, and then you're back at your inn or your base of operation. For us, we had Allegor's Inn.
Yeah.
That we had
or
made.
Or keep for even that matter.
Yeah, and then you're having a beer and
listen to
you
Snap
guys
Joe on the harmonica.
Yeah, and you
yeah.
Snap Joe that wasn't Snap Joe, that was somebody else.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
He's on the bone flute. You know, he's like,
he was shedding skins. And,
oh my god. But yeah, I mean, like high level guys, like a guy hits level 20 and all the problems are faced, and he's kind of retiring. Like
and just kind of back to normal.
It's kind of like
growing tomatoes.
Yeah. Pull the Tom Brady and get right back in the game, baby. Let's go.
Unretire.
But yeah, I think that was on to The Hobbit. We're gonna watch the extendeds of The Hobbit, and we'll
let me know when you get to Rings of Power, because this has been a golden age of TV between Andor and Rings of Power and She-Hulk. This has been
the Dragon.
This has been a fantastic month and a half, 2 months, and Rings of Power did not disappoint.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I haven't watched it. I've been waiting to kind of watch
catch up.
the other
I
one.
wanted to like a refresh.
I want to watch it with Lucas, so I want him to he's watched them the same like Danny Boy. Yeah. He's been watching the Lord of the Rings with us, and he's watched them 1,000 times, but really catch it up with like an older brain. Like
4 hours and 20 minutes, and it didn't
feel
like it.
Nope.
I mean, I know we're big fans and we're nerding out and whatever, but it still did not feel like it. Did not feel like it was like. Even the production quality on the parts that were edited out were still high.
Well, it wasn't
made
thrown
for
together.
You.
It's made for you. Yeah. It's made for me.
Yeah.
It's not made for the masses.
But you know what? It might be because it won Best Picture.
Yeah.
It won an Academy. Like, there's no fantasy movie, there's no even like Marvel movie that would ever come close to the Academy to look at it realistically and say
would it even nominated any other movie?
Not
at that level.
Not at Best Picture. I mean, it was nominated. I'm like, there's no way it's winning. It won Best Picture, Best Director.
Yeah.
It won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Return of the King. Look it up.
Like the first two movies won costume design and stuff, which you get. Those movies usually that's usually all they would ever get.
Mandalorian's always up for special effects.
All Star Wars ever did win was special effects stuff.
I mean, they nominated Black Panther for Best Picture.
They did?
Yeah.
But was that because...
Did you think it was going to win? I didn't. I didn't think Lord of the Rings was going to win. When they said it was Lord of the Rings, I was like, oh my God.
Don't get me wrong. It made Best Picture back when they only did 4 or 5 nominees.
Yeah.
So Black Panther got it when they started to do more nominees. But I mean, they are starting to kind of turn to the geek, which is good.
Yeah. But I think that was the first, hey.
That's in an age of not geek.
Yeah, in an age of not geek, you could be like, whoa. I think it might have been like a Harrison Ford.
I also think it's a little bit of that was always determined to be an unfilmable book series.
Yeah.
And I think it was oh my gosh, he actually did it.
Yeah.
Let's pat this guy on the back. And it's kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio winning an Oscar for a bad movie because he didn't win it for all the good movies he had done before.
Who knows? Maybe him doing what he did made Marvel realize that we could do it.
I bet you he changed the fantasy landscape. Like certain shows like War of the Ring or all the fantasy, even maybe Game of Thrones.
They don't get greenlit without.
I don't think they get greenlit without that reaching like look what Peter Jackson did. That's a testament to
we could do that at this level. Yeah. Not as high, and Game of Thrones was even easier because it wasn't as high fantasy.
And I think more than that, it comes down to we can make our money back if we spend X.
Yeah.
So a lot of fantasy movies came out, but they were always low budget. They were always like plastic suits of armor, not real armor. They were always like, we're gonna nickel and dime here and there.
You mean like the first D&D movie? You mean that?
Yes,
like
that? Like stuff like that. And then
let's move on.
Lord of the Rings proved that we can make money back.
Historical.
Let's put money into it, and we'll make good product. Yeah. And now we're living in the fantasy. We're living in the golden age of fantasy media.
One of the orcs is Peter Jackson had a fight with Harvey Weinstein, I think the producer at the time. He wanted the Lord of the Rings movie to be one movie. And Peter's like, I can't do that one movie. It has got to be 3 movies. And there was some kind of fight. And then that went to a different company. They broke it and went to whatever the company. New Line did it. So one of the orcs is patterned after his likeness.
Harvey Weinstein.
And not nicely.
It was
was it Gothmog or was one of the other...
I think it was Gothmog.
Might have been.
The one who spits on the rock.
Yeah. The one, he was the general of the army of Minas Tirith. But yeah. Anyway. Good stuff, Lord of the Rings. We could do the comments.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the comments from last week. So last week, if you remember, we had talked about favorite convention, what convention you've gone to. We talked about PAX. We talked a little about New York Comic Con because we had just gone.
Yeah.
So a couple people chimed in. This guy Phil that I've never heard of before.
Yeah, that guy Phil.
He said he's never been to a convention, so I don't know what's wrong with him.
Okay.
Phil.
We're gonna have to remedy that.
But he is going to a con called DerpyCon in October.
Okay.
Anime Con.
It's an anime con in New Brunswick. But he did mention, which I think is something we should definitely think about, is doing a convention about the do's and an episode about doing the do's and don'ts of going to conventions.
Interesting.
How to avoid cod crud.
So maybe
Which I got, by the way, mind you. Last week we came home from New York. I was sick.
Really?
I felt like crap for 2 days, and I tested COVID fine. I was like, how did I not get COVID? First off, but yeah, I mean,
con crud is a thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
So maybe before we go to PAX in December, maybe we make one of our episodes about the do's
it
and
covers
don'ts of
all.
conventions.
Doesn't matter what.
We could do it before and after. Before discussing,
show one of us in bed dying. It'd be great.
And then after, well, we didn't listen to ourselves, and this is what happened.
Yeah, we didn't listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
A couple other things. We had Way actually was in there. He talked about the idea that they're a little bit different, but he mentioned that New York Comic Con is basically a glorified mall.
Yes.
Which I kind of agree with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think all of our contributors, all of our people that commented were talking that the PAX is the better one only because of the camaraderie and the social aspect.
Yes, and it's for games. Like, there's no real games that I go to New York Comic Con mostly for comics because I used to collect comics and I still hunt and then whatever popular culture. It's a popular culture con.
You go because it's in New York.
Yeah, it's close.
20 minutes.
we did talk about the more it's
Proximity.
apples oranges, but more apples. PAX or Gen Con, like which one's better? And we had our discussion: is it 11 hours or 45 minutes? And then besides content, so
well, think about like the experience. Like we met up a couple times and walked around and saw things and had a good time. But there were other people that I saw at the con, like FaZe. I saw your wife Gabby a couple times. Like we saw each other, we said hello, and then we went our separate ways because we had other things to do.
Yeah.
PAX is very much like, oh, I see you. Let's sit down and play a game.
Yeah.
Or, oh, how you doing? It's nice to see you. I'm glad to see you. Let's sit down and play a game.
Come look at this game that I saw. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
And
but
you go over and look at it.
You do kind of do that. I mean, when you're on the floor at Gen Con or PAX, shopping diverts you. You're never on the same path of shopping. But the alternative is when you're done shopping, there's a plethora of things to do at a table, even if it's an hour after you're done shopping, or if it's in the middle of the night, like at Gen Con, we used to go down and, play for hours.
FaZe mentioned it as well, Green Destruction.
Yeah, he had talked about the idea that PAX was his favorite because of the social aspect of it. New York Comic Con was great, but he mentioned that you could actually go like 1 year, and then maybe take a year or two off, and then go back.
Which is what I've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, because you didn't go at all this year.
Yeah.
He had also mentioned, he was talking about the 40K Universes Beyond and how he liked how I think I'm quoting him where he said they didn't do it dirty.
Yes.
They didn't do 40K dirty.
Dirty.
Truth.
And he says that...
and he's a 40K fan, and he's a Necron fan, too.
Yeah.
So.
I think he's probably a 40K fan before Magic.
That's how he feels.
I don't want to speak for FaZe, but I think that...
Green Destruction is Gauss. Like, isn't it like the Necron green
element? That's where his name comes from. And he is he found Red Seal via Warhammer first.
And he also mentioned like he's not necessarily excited for the other things that might be coming out, but that's okay. Like with
but
the
he's
other,
okay. See, he's
okay with it.
He's of the opinion that I am with that stuff. Like, it's still Magic, so it may not be my thing, but it's okay.
Cool.
That's the way I prefer to look at it. So
everything is like that. Everything might not be my thing, but I'm happy.
I'm okay. Cool. I'm happy that you're happy.
More is more.
Give me more of everything.
Give me more.
And I guess that brings us. What's going to be our comment question for this episode?
It's probably going to be Halloween.
Well, we did mention earlier about like giving us
up the week before Halloween,
giving us a Halloween game or something that you like to play or do, even if it's bobbing for apples. What's something an event or a Halloween themed game, Halloween themed something. Let us know. But what else? We
were talking about what Halloween, what game makes you feel Halloween. Again, I'm a little older than most of our crew, but what is Halloween to them? Like, what do they remember as a kid? What movie or what game reminds them of Halloween?
That's what I was going to say. We talked about it a little bit. You said Halloween. I said Scream was my era. Yeah. What is your quintessential Halloween movie? Like, what's your favorite movie to watch this time of the year that you watch every year?
Or a TV show, maybe.
Could be TV show.
Yeah. Like Goosebumps. Remember Goosebumps?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Right?
I read so many Goosebumps.
Well, I do love, like, AMC or does, like, the week of horror, like, Halloween movies
31 Days of Halloween. Yeah.
Yes. I always like, what didn't I watch? Like, had a while watching.
So, hit us up. What's your favorite Halloween movie? Doesn't have to be horror, but just whatever you watch this time of year that gives you that Halloween vibe.
Movie, TV show. Hocus Pocus is popular now.
Hocus Pocus 2.
That's actually been made. And then just as a side note, since we're talking about Halloween, the next X-Wing tournament we're having at the store is going to be taking place on the 29th,
The 9th.
which is a Saturday,
Which we're going to have.
which
You're
is
also gonna
Halloween
dress up.
weekend.
Yes.
So we're going to have the tournament, and Toph and some of the others are going to be decorating the store, help us decorate the store for a Halloween theme. So we're going to have probably like a potluck, bring some, maybe whip up something.
This is for after the X-Wing.
This is for
tournament, right?
after the X-Wing
After
event.
And come dressed. Come in
that
costume.
Saturday
right?
night, come in costume. We're probably gonna have some pizza at the store, free pizza at the store, because I like to do that stuff. It's just fun. Everybody hang out, and then if we do a potluck, people could bring maybe some cupcakes, candies, or maybe some Halloween dishes. It'll be fun.
So everybody come out to RSG on the 29th for after the X-Wing tournament. We're gonna have a little
Cool.
Halloween
And
soiree.
hopefully we'll be in
we got-
costume for next.
I'm sensing a Palpatine presence and perhaps maybe a
there
pilot.
might be a heavy Imperial presence. I'm
Heavy.
definitely.
I don't
Might
ISB's
be.
up on my
I don't
list right
think
now.
May is really gonna say it. I think it is.
Yeah, I think Dan's gonna be the odd one out. But
I am. I won't even be
But
stolen. I'm not gonna be
if you're
stolen.
gonna do what you're gonna do, okay, it's
No, I'm not going to for the actual day. I'm not going to do that because my wife might be coming too, and she wanted to do something. So,
What about what we talked about? A flamboyant hat.
oh,
You gonna do
that'll
for
be
here.
that'll be for the episode.
That's
which
what we're talking about for here.
Oh, for next.
Okay,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah. No, I definitely. Yeah,
Interesting.
Very cool.
I got to blow the dust off my feathered cap.
I'll be able to. I'll tell Beth to watch the episode. She's going to see who she assaulted in the bar the first time we played D&D together.
That's
That's right. That was
That's
in the
right.
adventure.
Yes.
All right, cool. Yeah. So next week.
Next week, and until next week, ladies and gentlemen, gamers of all time, never stop gaming.
Yes. And summon points for X-Wing. Come on, AMG. Release it now before Halloween.
And make sure you get on to Disney Plus and watch Andor. So good.
Yeah, we will. Everybody will. It just takes time.
Chef's kiss.
Well, we'll see.
Long live the Empire.
Well, oh, goodness.